Hello to everybody, thank you very much for joining us today. Let us know where you're watching from, will you? It's always nice to be joined from around the world. Today, as you've seen in the description, we've got the, here it is, Yamaha PSR SX-900 keyboard, and the video I want to do today and to share with you is how this is a great little keyboard for songwriting in particular, because there are a billion things I could cover on why it's good for a songwriter, but specifically I wanted to show you the chord looper sequence and how you can use this to structure a song using all sorts of different styles. But as a songwriter myself, and many songwriters around the world will know that it's all about inspiration sometimes, and sometimes taking an idea from your head and putting it into a keyboard and putting a bit of backing music in can just take you to the next stage of creating a song. So that's what I'm going to cover today. Do shout out your questions, just write them in the comments section. If you need to ask anything, if you want me to track back and cover something in particular, just leave a section there. Let me say hello to a few peoples. Hi Michael from Stockton-on-Tees, welcome Michael, and welcome Terence, good to have you with us again. Terence from Coventry. Hi Scott. Yeah, everyone's doing well, thanks. As a name I can't pronounce, Talia, hello, very welcome to you. Sorry about that terrible pronunciation. Lynn Davis, hi from Australia, Genos Player here, but all your videos are so wonderful and love the tipster so much. Well, thank you Lynn, welcome all the way from Australia. Thanks for joining us. And Alan, thanks Alan for joining us again from Michigan. In Missouri. Oh, it's great, they're all getting together so regularly, aren't we? And you're saying hello to each other. This is great. We should do this more often, as if once a day wasn't enough. We're trying to do as many as we can. And hi Joey from Manhattan in New York. Joey. Well, thanks for joining us, Joey. What keyboard have you got, Joey? What do you play? And hello Flo from the other room. Okay, well, keep the comments coming in. I'm going to get into my section on how to use this as a songwriting tool. Okay, So when I'm writing a song, what I like to do is experiment a little bit with chord sequences, and to do that on this keyboard I'm going to use the chord looper section. So Charlie, let's have a top down on the screen shot and let's have a look here, the chord looper section. Now on your keyboard at home you might not see chord looper there if you've got an SX-900. If it is not there, then you'll need to go up to the menu section and you will see it within here somewhere, usually on menu 1 and chord looper just there. Now I've shortcutted it, whoops, I meant to press exit then, by putting it on the home screen. And if you're wondering how you do that, well, I'll show you. Look, if you held down the home screen just here, actually no, that's not the way to do it, is it? What we need to do is go into assignable. That's it. Yeah, and home shortcuts. So do you see we've got 6 options along the bottom, one of which is chord looper. Go to menu and then go to menu 1, assignable, and along the top it says home shortcuts, and you can change these to whatever you please, split and fingering, yada yada yada. And chord looper is what I've got the second one set to, but you can change it to anything you like. And once it's set, press the exit button, back to the home screen, and you'll have your shortcut put here. So chord looper, let's go in there. And before I do that, I want to choose a style of music. So having gone through all of the styles, not literally all the styles, but having decided that the type of song I want to write is a soft rock style, all I'm doing is I'm just going through this screen and I'm playing the style, the accompaniment a little bit like this with a simple chord. And what I'm doing is I'm going through each one and deciding which one's going to suit my song. I've got an idea of a tempo in my mind. And of course I'm only in pop and rock, but we've got so many variations in here, haven't we? It could be anything. There's loads in here, but what I want to choose is soft rock, UK soft rock, because it suits the style of song that I've got in my head. So once I've chosen that style, it's then that I go into chord looper. And what I want is to play a chord sequence now for the first verse of my song. And I'm just going to keep it really, really basic. I'm just going to use C, E minor, F for the verse. Let's just do the first verse first. So this is what it's going to sound like. It's going to be C, E minor, F. So I can't help but get a bit fancy with the chords, but it's basically C, E minor, F, and then we're going to end on a G for the first verse. So this is how we get that into the chord looper. So let's come back onto the main screen, and I'm going to turn the chord looper on, and you might need to, can you see this okay, people at home? It's the button just under chord looper. It's not quite in shot here, but you can just about see it. I'm going to turn that on, that's better, and the sync start already comes on. So what this means is the minute I play that first chord, it's going to begin recording me. So I'm going to go C, E minor, F, here we go. Okay, so I then pressed record stop just here when I got to the end of that sequence, and if I want to hear it back to check that it's playing the right chords for me, I can do that by pressing the chord looper there and play, and it will play it back. It's not saved it yet, bear in mind, so if you turn it off at this point you're going to lose it, but let's have a look. So, hands free. It's playing the chords. Okay, so I've decided that I'm happy with that chord sequence and it's just about in time, and I want to save that for my first verse. And songwriters amongst you will know, of course, that the chord sequence for a verse of a song is recurring, so it's going to be there for the second verse, third verse, etc. So come back to the screen, I'll show you how we save this into the chord looper memory. Pretty clear. You press memory button, then pop it into number 1, and it'll give you a preview of the chords as well. Okay, and now that I've got that in there, at any time I can press the start stop button and we can just play that and it'll play through. Sorry, that's as long as the chord looper button is on and it's flashing. So as a songwriter, what's starting to come into my head a little bit now is melody. Now this isn't something I'm going to record at this stage, but I'm starting to think about the melody of a song. So now I'm going to set that chord looper off and playing that sequence for the first verse, and I'm just going to play with the piano, because when you're playing the chord looper back, it takes the chord control off, so I've in effect got a whole 61 note piano to play. So I'm just going to experiment a bit with a melody that I might like. So let me just start that off again. Okay, so for the first verse of a song, that's me just starting to think about what melody I want. And it's at this point, you often get really inspired and you'll hear a chord change in the way it'll play against the melody, and you'll think, that's what I've been looking for, that's what I've been searching for this song. So next step is going to be thinking about the bridge to the song. Before I do that, I'm just going to say hello to some more people that might be joining us. Thank you to everyone that's joining us for the first time today, by the way. Welcome. This is Casual Keyboards from ePianos here in Banbury, Oxfordshire, digital piano and keyboard specialists, and we're doing these live streams showing people how to use these keyboards. Many folks already own them and they come to us for tutorials. That's what we're all about here. Thank you for joining us for the first time. Okay, hello Trevor from Essex. Thanks for joining us again, Trevor. Hi John from Northwich, Genos player. Incidentally, if you're watching this and you are a Genos player, all of what I'm showing today works on Genos. You have Chord Looper on Genos if you have software version 2 or above. So this will all work on your Genos. Joey V, welcome. David's watching. Hi David, see you on Thursday. Hello Joe Smith. Is there a way to mark songs from the playlist as favourites and can be done with Music Finder? Yes, there is a sort of way you can do that. If there's time at the end, I'll come back to that. Yeah, Joey, I couldn't help but get fancy with the chords. Hello Gordon, thanks for joining us from Amnaford. Hello, I'm Ralph Official and Shamir, and hello Michael for joining us. Thank you everyone for supporting us and watching these videos. It's great to share these fantastic toys with you, and it's loads of fun doing so. So thanks for joining us, and it's great to interact with people as well. Now I'm going to move on to the bridge of this song that we're writing here together. If someone wants to shout out some chords, by the way, for the chorus or the bridge or the middle eight, just do it and I'll read it off the comment section. We all write a song together and split the copyright fees for when it goes into a global #1, shall we? So the bridge of the song. Come back to the screen, Charlie, and let's have a look where we are. That's our first verse, but now we need a bridge leading up to the chorus. Okay, so I think it's going to go something like this. So I'm going to turn on the sync start and listen to that again, that sequence, and just see what I feel like should come next. Oh, and incidentally, when inspiration strikes and I know what's going to come next, I'm going to press the Chord Looper record button, and that's going to pick up the recording from the first beat of the next bar, so I can really play in time and it will record my chord sequences. So here we go again. Okay, so what I've recorded that time was an F, E minor, A minor 3 times, and then back to the G. It sounded like this. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that for a bridge to the song, and I was starting to play around with the melody there, just because that's just starting to get the creative fires lighting a little bit. So, but I haven't saved it yet, and that's what I need to do next. So come back to the top-down display. We've got our first verse sequence there. Our bridge sequence is saved temporarily at this point, but to save it permanently, memory #2. Of course, this is working in sequence of the song, because that's going to be my first verse, that's going to be my bridge, here will be my chorus, whatever those chords will be. And I'll just see as to whether any of you have been suggesting chords for the chorus. That would be nice. Let's have a look. Come on, shout a chord at me and I'll put it into the middle 8 or something. Hi Alan, I'm glad you're liking the tips. Shamir, I don't know the theoretical limit actually of bars that you can record into Chord Looper. I'm sorry, I don't know that one. The style I'm using, Terence, is UK pop, UK soft rock actually, and the tempo was about 86, but I'll double check that. Incidentally, I'll do a copy of this, and if anyone wants it afterwards, I could email it through for your SX or your Genos, this chord sequence. Okay, so let's go to doing the chorus now. So we got first verse, we got bridge, now we need a chorus chord sequence. And I guess it's got to start with a C, hasn't it? So let me get the bridge looping round once, then I will press Chord Looper, and then I will play the chords for the chorus of the song. And yeah, I'll get a G. Terence, thank you. Terence Parker, I shall put a G in the chorus, especially for you. And Joey, G major 7th, Joey. Yeah, I tell you what, G major 7th, let's use that as the second chord. Okay, so let's get this top-down view again, and we'll get the bridge looping around, and then I'm going to go straight in and play that chorus. Oh no! Okay, I was getting too ambitious there with that G major 7th. I'll have to do it in the middle 8th. Okay, let's go straight back to getting that chord looper on, and I'm going to go straight into the chorus. Go. Okay, so that sounds pretty good for a chorus, I think, and I need to save that into the memory because at this point it's only provisionally saved, and that was me just playing about with some melody ideas there as well. So come back to the top-down view on the screen again, and I'll show you memory and slot number 3. This gives us now our first verse, bridge, and our chorus. And at this point I'm going to save the whole thing because it has not yet been committed to the keyboard's memory. I'm still losing it if I turn it off at this point. So what we do is at the top we press this save icon and we press save. Make sure you're a user at the top and user on the top left. Press save here, give it a name, and I'm going to name it live song C, live song in C. Press OK. So that saved it. If I turned it off and back on at this point, then it would be committed to the memory. Okay, so let's just have a quick play through the first verse, the bridge and the chorus, and I'll play some melody over the top and we'll get a feel of how our song is starting to come together, because we can start getting we start varying a little bit now using the style variations as well. So I'm going to start off with let's have a wide shot of the keyboard. What I'm going to do is start off with variation A, which is good for, this is under style control. Variation A is good for the first verse of a song. When we go to the bridge, I'm going to go to variation B, and when we get to the chorus, I'm going to do variation C. But then I'm going to come back to B for the second verse of the song, if that makes sense to you. So here we go. Chord looper is on. Variation A is set. All I have to do is press start and we'll be away. was kind of enjoying that. So that's a nice song, a pretty basic song starting to come together, and I'm just playing a bit of melody over the top, and that's how Chord Looper is helping me at this stage, and I can switch back and forth between them as I did then. And just before we move on to the next step of recording it, I need some chords for the middle 8, and I'm just going to say hello to a few folks that might be joining in for the first time. If you're joining us for the first time, in fact we had a poll going, didn't we? And there's a few people joining us for the first time today, so welcome to everybody, and thank you to everyone for joining us again here. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, I'm glad you're liking that. Let us do some chords for the middle 8 of this song. So the middle 8 typically is going to come after the second chorus. We'll drop straight into the middle 8, then back into the bridge, and then do perhaps 2 choruses in a row to complete the song performance. And I'll get to recording it after this. So let's come back to the top-down view. So first verse, bridge, chorus. In slot number 4 is where I'm going to put my middle 8 chords. And middle 8 chords are usually a little bit different, and they give you a bit of a slight sort of deviation off the road, but still allow you to come back into the bridge and the chorus with some momentum and some power. So I'm going to need something a bit unusual for sequence number 4. So I'm going to inspire me, I'm going to play the chorus sequence through once, and then I'm going to hit record with the chord sequencer and play some chords that I think are appropriate. So let's get this going. So let's see what that sounds like. This was my sequence. In fact, I think I might need to record that again, so I'm just going to start it off here. Now that I know what chords I want to play, I'll go straight in. So that will have captured now my chords for the middle 8, and come to the top down view, and I'm going to commit that to memory number 4. So that was an E7 flat 13th. I have to be honest with you, I couldn't have told you that was an E flat 7th flat 13th unless the keyboard told me it was. I'm just playing a chord with a few variations that I know, and that sounds quite complicated, doesn't it? But it's not really. So now we've got the middle 8 saved as well. We could play the whole song through in sequence. I'm just going to save this now before I forget, overriding that. So if you missed that, to save the whole thing again, we go up to save here and save it where I want to, override the one I made previously. I'm not going to change the name, and it will say, hang on, are you sure you want to overwrite this? And I'll just press yes. Okay, so the next step in the songwriting journey here, from conception of the song and the chord sequences for the verse, bridge, chorus, middle 8, is actually committing it to a recording So if I have a great idea, I don't forget it. Recording, of course, is something you can do on this keyboard. It's how it all comes together as a great songwriting tool. This is how you do it. So I'm going to, first of all, come up to recording up here, and from the options on the screen, I'm going to do a quick recording under the MIDI section. Now, this is going to record it in a type of file that will allow me to play it back through this keyboard and have it sound great. And if I transfer it to a computer, it's going to rely on the sounds that are built into the computer, which are not always very good unless you've got a specific package of good voices. The other option for recording is audio. Now, I'm going to do MIDI first, but then I'm going to show you how you can convert it into audio if you want to take it out to a computer and have it sound precisely how it does coming out of the keyboard. So, for the sake of getting into a recording this song that we're writing, I'm going to press quick recording, and this automatically sets up so the minute we start playing, it's going to start recording, so there's not going to be any wasted space at the beginning of the file. So the next step is going to be pressing exit, and that'll bring us back to Chord Looper. Then I turn my Chord Looper on and come to the wide shot again, please Charlie, and I'm going to have, for the first verse, variation A, because in our preview that we were playing just a few moments ago, I realized that that's actually a really good intro as well. So I'm going to use the one sequence of first verse chords for the intro, then a first verse, then the bridge, then the chorus. So sync start, look all the buttons that are flashing at once, everything's prepared to go, and the minute I press start stop, this is going to start recording. And watch me as I change the variations and the chord sequences. So I'm not going to actually do any playing with no chords, but I might play a little bit of melody to commit that to the memory. Okay, so that's as an initial demo recording. Oh, hang on, I haven't pressed stop yet. So come back to the screen, and if we go back to recording, our song recorder is still ticking away here. So I need to press stop. That has saved the song automatically. Oh, hang on, no, I need to press save and then press save here. And I'm going to call this one live song C MIDI, just so I know what it is. And there it is. So I could turn it off at this point and turn it back on, and we would still have the basic recording, everything that you've just heard me playing in the memory there. Okay. Richard Taylor, thank you, Richard. I hope this is helping, because I know many people out there that play these keyboards are composers and they're songwriters, so I thought this might be a helpful video. A minor, Joey, A minor. I did get an A minor in the middle 8, didn't I? Although it was some sort of unusual one with a 13th that I didn't know was a 13th. Yes, Terence, now we need the vocals. I'll go and get Flo and bring her in here to sing. I'm glad you like the song, Terence. Scott, I don't think you really want David to come and sing. Shamia, what happens if you press intro, ending or 3 while Chord Looper is on? I don't know, I haven't tried it, but I think what would happen is intro and ending on these keyboards, if we could just have a wide shot of the top, Charlie. Intro and ending here play automatic chord sequences for you that are within the theme of the music, of the style. So it's not going to stick to, I don't think, the chord sequence that I put in there, to answer your question. Okay, so we've now got a recording of that in there, but this is where it starts to get really, really fun, because there's some extra things you can do to really mix up this performance using the live control knobs and something that's called part mute. I think it's called part mute, style mute. Where is it? I had a style track mute, that's what it's called. But before I get to that, actually, just going back to Chord Looper. Now my chords here that I've got, I've chosen the style for it, as you heard, but I can, if I want to, change the style altogether to something totally different. I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. If I press exit, we come back to the home screen. Now, UK soft rock is still selected, but if I wanted to, I could change that to something else, and I'm going to choose a different style that is not too far away in tempo. And if you can just about make it out on the screen here, it says there's a little picture of a note and then it's a number, and that's the beats per minute, that's the tempo of the song. I don't want to choose anything that's too far away from 82, but I'm going to choose let's say dance hall pop instead. Now if I press exit and come back to Chord Looper, Chord Looper will now play my chords in that different style, and it'll sound the same chords but different backing. Have a listen to this. Okay, so that sounds a little bit weird compared to the song that we were doing, but sometimes with songwriting that can inspire you. You can think, well, I've written this chord sequence, I thought it was going to be a typical British rock pop song, and I've put a different style in there, and now I think it's going to suit a country song. In fact, let's try changing this into a country song. Same chords, but different style of music. So let's go top down again here. And let's go over to, there we are. So page 2 on an SX-900, we've got country styles on here. And let's try Nashville rock. So it's a little bit too fast. I'm going to bring the tempo down, a bit more in range. Press exit to go back to our chord looper. First verse, variation A. Let's see what this sounds like. Can you tell us at home whether you can hear the keyboard? We fear you might have lost the keyboard connection, so anyone watching at home, just comment in the comment section if you can still hear. I can still hear it through my headphones, Charlie. Have you still got us at home? Hopefully you can still hear us again now. So I was going into using different styles with my chord sequence that I'd written, and I chose a Nashville style there, and I didn't like it all that much actually, so I'm going to choose Nashville pop this time. Can we have a top down shot, Charlie? Nashville pop. Go back to Chord Looper. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, so that was country with my chord sequence. It didn't quite work, did it, that one? So let's try something else that's not too far away. It's style-wise like 90s Aussie pop. See what this is like. It works. Okay, so that's how you can take the chord sequence you've done and you can just put a totally different twist on it by using a different style from the many different categories on here. And we could even go completely wild and put it on a hoedown or bluegrass or something like that, and we could go, well, as far removed from the original as you like. But as I said, sometimes that provides needed inspiration, doesn't it? Now, the other thing I wanted to cover was I'm just going to see. I'm glad you can hear us again now. And Scott, you like the country style, did you, Scott? I think the second country one I did was pretty good, actually. It was pretty good. Let's see. Yes, Joey, the guitar strum was coming from the keyboard because the styles or the backings that I'm using are made up of about 16 layers of different instruments, and that's what I'm going to get into now, because we can start having fun with those instruments and swapping them out for different instruments, or indeed muting them or isolating them. So I'm going to go back to the original style that I had, just because I feel a little more familiar with that now and I kind of know what instruments were in there. And I'm going to load up the mixer. So come top down again and let's have a look. I've got my soft rock here, I've got my chords in my chord looper, but if I now go to mixer, which is just to the left of the screen here, we can see this. And where I want you to go is to style at the top here, and style 1, by the way, because I think there's 16 in total. Now what we're looking at here is when you're hearing that backing and that chord sequence playing, you're hearing all of those instruments playing together. And if you come top down one more time, I'll get the chord sequence going and you'll see them playing. And what I'm going to do is isolate 1 or 2 so we can hear it. So Joey, you asked where that guitar was coming from. That's it. I've now isolated it within the 16 instruments that are playing, and we can hear it playing that chord sequence. And again, during the songwriting process, this sometimes provides you with a little bit of inspiration, because you think the live performance might cut down at this point and we'll just have a guitar strumming and we'll have some vocals on top. So come back to the screen. And the way I did that, by the way, if anyone is wondering how I isolated that one voice, you go where it's green at the top, and I could knock it out if I wanted by pressing that, and it would knock the whole thing out. But if I want to knock everything else out and just have the guitar, you hold it and it'll turn purple, and it gives us this. That's everything. There's the electric guitar. The strings will be interesting. So that works. It's just a really interesting way you can get into the nitty-gritty of the backings on there and tailor it to your own recording and your own song. As I say, as a songwriting tool, all of this is great because you can play around with it and it'll give you all sorts of inspiration. Now, that's kind of a analog way of doing it, if you will. It's a little bit bitty, and I've got to press the screen to change everything. But the live control knobs that we have on SX-900, these two here, these can be assigned to basically do the job that I had been doing there. In fact, I want to show you. If you press the assign button above the live control knobs, you'll see there are loads of different settings. Let's have a close-up on the screen, Charlie. And I'm pushing the assign button. It's going between 3 different roles for the knobs. But the ones I like are called Style Track Mute A and Style Track Mute B. And what these will do, as I turn the left dial round now, watch what's happening in the mixer behind it. It's starting to take away elements of the backing. So I'm going to turn the backing on and play that chord sequence, and then I'm going to play with the Style Track Mute, and you can hear what difference it makes. Going back the other way. Okay, so can you hear how that dial is removing instruments as we go along, as we're playing live, which is a much neater way and more controllable way of doing it than just by pressing the screen. You saw style mute, track mute A and B, and if you're wondering what the difference is, well, I can demonstrate that to you now. A, as you've seen, will remove, if we can have a tight shot on the screen, Charlie, the right hand one, that style mute A, removes everything apart from the percussion. The percussion is the last thing to go. Okay, so it sounds like this, and as I turn it, the percussion will be the last thing to go. Whereas the other one, style track A, kind of does it in the opposite direction. It knocks the percussion out first and leaves all of the instruments playing, so the effect is opposite. It's like this. Back the other way. Okay, so those two systems are really useful for actually performing a song live, or indeed when you're just writing a song and you just want to experiment with the sound a bit. If the backing's a bit overwhelming, you can reduce it. But how do you assign those knobs to do that job? That's what I'll show you now. We need to go to the menu button on the right here. There we go. And we go to menu 1, assignable, and it's in here that we have the assignable. Hang on a minute. No, sorry, I'm leading you down the garden path there. We go to direct access, and then we might need a wider shot here, Charlie, of the keyboard. Direct access, and then the assign button above the live control buttons. Or I think I could press direct access and then just turn one of the buttons, and it takes us directly to it. There it is, look. And I've chosen to have option 3 for style track mute, but there's a gazillion different ways you can set it in here. Style track B on knob number 1, and that's how you can do it. I hope you can still hear us okay. We had a few technical problems, but I hope we're back now here. Terence Parker asked a question: can it record the melody as well as the chord looper, or does this have to be played live? The chord looper itself won't record the melody, but if you use the recording process that I demonstrated, then that is how you'd record the melody as well, and then you've got yourself a complete demo song, or indeed a final performance if you deem it to be good enough. So you just use the standard recording section. Let's have a look. Scott in Tyneside asks, so when you're knocking out a sound, can you do it as a multiple, i.e. 2 or 3 at the same time? Not that I know of actually, but you can get used to turning the dial enough that it will knock out 2 or 3, because they seem to go in some sort of predefined sequence when you remove them using the dial. So you can kind of get used to them, but whether you can program them to take out individual a sequence that you want, I don't know. I don't think you can, but that would be very cool if we could do that. Terence asked, holding knocks out all the rest, and does it record like that in Looper too? It won't record it in Looper again, but in the MIDI recording section, yes it will. It will actually record your live performance if you want it to. So yeah, you can actually use these live control knobs to put together a final polished performance if you want to. Kevin, thanks for joining us, Kevin. Good to have you with us. Kevin Lynn, when you save to MIDI, do each of the instruments load up as tracks on software, e.g. Logic Pro? I don't think they do. I am sure there's a way you can configure it individual MIDI tracks, because we have got traditional MIDI outputs here, Kevin, and we got USB to MIDI somewhere as well. So I imagine if you wanted to, you could set up 16 MIDI tracks if you wanted to. Worst case is you could just isolate each MIDI track in the performance and play it through to an individual track, of course, on Logic or whatever software you're using. But I think you probably can. I can't say it with certainty though, but I imagine that's such a useful tool that it's something you can do. James, thanks for joining us, James Ralston. Hi Chris, bit off topic. Have SX-900 would like to add a MIDI keyboard. Would vConsole software help? Sorry James, I just don't know the answer to that one. I'm not entirely sure what vConsole is. I think it's a kind of mixing console, so I'm sorry I can't answer that one. Could I ask one thing of everybody watching, if you don't mind, and that's to press that little thumbs up just below the screen here on YouTube, the little thumbs up icon, because that really helps our video get seen on YouTube. So if this is useful for you, please do us a favor and press that little thumbs up icon. That'd be really good. Okay, so I've covered chords, writing a song right from the chord sequence, putting it into Chord Looper, recording the melody, recording the whole song, and then going in and playing around with the actual styles themselves. One extra thing I wanted to show you was how to revoice the styles, because again, during the creative process you might have heard those strings that were playing in the last sequence and thought, actually those strings are a little bit harsh on my ears, I want to swap it for something that's a bit softer. Okay, so quickly, this will be the final thing I do, just to do this, because I know I'm blabbering on again, aren't I? So the way we do this is, we've got our chords already in the system here. I want to go into the mixer, and what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to remove. First of all, I'll isolate it so you know what I'm talking about. It's these strings. What I'm going to do is change those strings to something else. So if I press the icon here, this brings up the selection of strings, and I can actually change it. I could even do it on the fly, so get it playing and switch between voices. It's a bit weird. So cellos work quite well, don't they? So let's change that out for cellos, and this is what it's like isolated with cellos. Pardon me. And what does it sound like when we put everything back into the main mix? So that's given the strings a slightly different feel, but let's change something else as well. Why don't we change that guitar from an electric guitar that's picking away to an acoustic guitar? So they come back into the mixer, and we can do that by going to this one here, so I can identify it with the icon. So let's isolate it and listen to it. So hold it down at the top. Press the icon, and I'll change it for an acoustic guitar. So steel guitar. I'm probably going to need to bring the volume up too, because the electric guitar was a bit louder. Okay, now let's wait for the C to come round, and I'll put it back in the mix. So acoustic guitar in there, it's probably a little bit swamped at that stage because all the other instruments are playing as well. But if I decided to do that, I could then perhaps lower the volume of the other ones or go back to a simpler variation, and it will give the whole feel a bit more of a sort of REM cut back acoustic rock feel rather than all electric. So that's about it for today, because I've been going on for ages, but I hope that's been useful. I'll just see if anyone else is saying hello. Thank you Joey V for subscribing. Incidentally, there's a button down below the screen that does say subscribe, so if you press that you'll get a notification of next time that we're going live here on YouTube. And I'm going to be saying goodbye in just a moment. David Lucas really enjoyed the Chord Looper demo and using the mixer to change sounds. Thanks. I really hope this was useful, and the inspiration for these videos really comes from you guys watching at home, by the way. I've had a lot of emails about Chord Looper, and I've been meaning to do this video for a very long time, and there's so much in here that will aid songwriters that I could make 10 videos on just that alone. So I might do a part 2 if enough of you say that songwriting video was very good, could you do another one, Chris? Then I'll set about doing one in the near future. Thank you, Terence. This is a great session. Just need to update my SX firmware. Thank you, Terence. Thanks very much. Joey V, can you attach a microphone and sing into it if you wanted? Yes, you can. The only trouble is there's no one here brave enough to do that. I might do it in the future if enough people encourage me, but we have got some videos where Flo is doing some singing. Flo is one of our colleagues here, and she's got a great singing voice. If you look on ePianos TV, you can see a video that we recorded together on the Yamaha DGX, and she's a great singer. But yes, you can plug a microphone into this. Your voice will come out of the speakers, and you can take advantage also of the vocal harmonies that are built into it as well. So that would be something I'd really like to cover in a live stream. So stay subscribed and you'll see. Thank you, Alan Hickman. Thank you, Terence Parker. Thank you, Scott. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm going to just play a little bit of, well, you know what, I might as well play one final run through of that song that we've written. Incidentally, the chord sequence here I've got saved on this keyboard, and one of the great things about these keyboards is you can share stuff with other SX-900 keyboards or Genoses. So if you want to take my chords and go and do something with them and write a song or just have fun with them or tweak them or do whatever, then I can, if you email me, sales@ePianos.co.uk, then I'll just email you back with the file, which you can transfer on a USB stick into your own keyboard. But that's all for now. Thanks very much for watching. Hit that thumbs up at the bottom of the video for us. That's really helpful. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.